Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Lead Her podcast. Today we have Nic Denham with us. Nic, welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast. So Nic is part owner of Honey and Violet, which is a hair and beauty salon in Stirling, but it's not just Stirling you're based, you also do a lot of weddings as well.
Yep, we cover kind of all over Scotland for weddings, for hair and makeup, just anywhere really that people want to take us to.
Amazing. And how else can we introduce you to everyone else?
So I own a salon in Stirling called Honey and Violet, and we've got a team of hair, makeup, nails, beauty, and then we also have the wedding side of the business as well, so that's Honey and Violet Weddings. So yeah.
Yeah, we're a mum.
Yeah, my mum.
Rugby mum.
Rugby mum, yeah. I've got two boys, Struan's 4 and Rory's 10. And then I like the gym as well. I've got really into doing like Olympic weightlifting this year, which is really exciting. And then just other bits and bobs as well.
Amazing, awesome. It's nice to know that we're sometimes more than just business owners, because I think sometimes like I'll define myself as a coach and then it's like, oh, but I'm a dog mum and I'm also this as well.
Yeah, definitely.
No, brilliant. And is it right that Honey and Violet's 10 years old this year, is that right?
Yeah, so we're about 9 years. It'll be 10 years next year.
Okay, and I haven't asked you this, but are you planning on doing something to celebrate?
I don't know, we've thought about it. We need to do something. I feel like it's like a big mark, isn't it, 10 years?
Yeah. Especially
in kind of our industry, when sometimes like businesses come and go, but I feel like 10 years is quite a solid run of it.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And that's like one reason we've got you here today as well, is because you have had a successful career for 9-10 years now. So we thought that would be really good for us to cover today. But then also, we met up earlier this year and we had a really good kind of conversation, and we felt like, I think a lot of women don't have other people to talk about how they're kind of feeling with their job, with their life, and we met up and we had a really good chat, and I just thought we could really explore a lot more of that today as well. Yeah. So, and I think we're both in a similar position when we met up earlier this year. We met for a dog walk, which is my way into meeting everybody. But I have discussed this on the podcast before about how, like, when we get older, our friendship groups do get smaller.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think as well, like, I have become a lot more introverted over the years, probably due to everything that's gone on in the world. And I just kind of got to a place where I was like, I kind of want to I know when I go out and meet people, I feel really good. So I was like, I want to do more of that. So I'd been to your salon a fair few times. I love Nic's social media and like what she does for Honey and Violet as well. So I was like, I'm just going to message her and be like, do you want to go for a dog walk? So that was before this podcast even started. So that was actually like February.
Yep. And it was lost up a hill.
Yeah, exactly. And the weather was actually a beautiful day, wasn't it? It was actually a really nice day. But yeah, will we discuss, where did we go for our walk?
Is it Scout Hill?
Maybe.
I think so, in Gargunnock Way anyway.
Yeah.
And then, we decided to go there, but it turned into like, from an hour walk into like a 3.5 hour walk.
We got absolutely lost. It was meant to be a circular route, so we'd fought, but we couldn't find the end of the circle, so we had to like massively come back on ourselves. But
we were like on a cliff's edge at one point, but
at least the weather was nice, and also great team building. I could see the panic in your face at one point. We were both trying to keep super calm, walking in like bits that did not look like it was part of the path.
Yeah.
But we made it home, and it was just like really good to just speak to you and be like, oh my God, like, because we do see Instagram you, we see business you, and we think, oh my God, she's got it all together. Yeah. And you probably thought the same about me. And then we just started chatting and we're like, oh my God, like, it's not just me that felt like that. So that was really nice. I don't know if I told you that on the day, but it was really nice for me to speak to you and be like, oh, it's not just me that's maybe been struggling.
Yeah, 100%.
So if we can take it back to like maybe what we spoke on that day and how you've been feeling and what you've been going through, like what would kind of come to mind first? Like, where do you feel you were or what you were struggling with?
I probably felt last year, I think my business partner Lisa would probably say the same, that we've always been known as a duo. And when you're known as a duo, like, you almost feel like you lose yourself a wee bit. And I was like, I actually don't know who I am anymore. Like, that's how I was kind of feeling. Like, I don't know what I do outside of work, because work's just everything. I think about work like every single minute of the day. Like, I feel like I kind of need to find something for myself. And you'll probably find it as well, like, I think people sometimes, even when they get into romantic relationships, they almost lose themselves a wee bit because they don't have anything for themselves. So yeah, I felt like a lot of last year was trying to find things that I enjoy outside of work, and it wasn't just work all the time.
Yeah.
Because that was a huge part of it. Like, work's fine, and having that whole like hustle and moving forward is fine, but do that in like work hours almost, where it doesn't need to feel like on a Sunday or a Monday when I'm off. It needs to be like in work hours, and outside work hours I don't need to be thinking about this 24/7.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I went on quite a big journey last year to try to find what I enjoy. And I feel like there was quite a big transition with like the kids getting a wee bit older as well, and not just feeling like a baby mum anymore. Because I was like, I feel like I used to always like dressing up and doing my hair and makeup and feeling nice, but I feel like when you're in the trenches of being like a small child mum, you kind of get lost in that, and you need to kind of almost find yourself a wee bit. So that's why I kind of was like, I need to start putting myself out there more.
Yeah.
And doing different things.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of people feel like this, but you almost feel guilty to be feeling a little bit like something's missing.
Yeah.
Or you don't feel things are quite right because you've got the dog, you've got the kids are healthy, you've got a great business, like everything's good. But there was just this sense of like, something's lacking or I'm missing something. Is that kind of what you felt?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like as well, like I probably hid behind the brand a lot of the time, whereas I feel like probably before I started turning violet, I used to put myself out there more, just when like I did makeup on my own. But then we built this amazing brand that it was like easy to hide behind it and not have to put yourself out there more. So I just kind of was like, I need to change this and start doing things that I actually enjoy for myself more than just for the brand, and get a wee bit more creative and do things outside the work. So yeah. Just try to push that.
Good. And what did you do to kind of, because I think as well for you, it was that hamster wheel of we were working, we had the kids, and then obviously everything slowed down a little bit through lockdown and everything like that. And do you feel like that was almost that kind of wee bit of a pausing, reflecting moment to be like, hold on here, there's more that I want to do, or I want to get out more, or is it a spark of that?
I feel like it was probably a bit of both. During lockdown, it was great, because obviously you got to spend time with the kids and do all that, but then I was like, I feel like I went through like, you lose your identity because all I did was work, and all I did was do things for like my job, and then that was almost taken away because you didn't really think about that it almost was like quite a scary thought, if you know what I mean. But then after lockdown, I feel like I was like, yes, I want to jump back into this, and then go on this like adrenaline rush of it all again. You know what I mean?
It's addictive.
Yeah. But then I feel like sometimes now that my youngest students get a wee bit older, I've like, the only way I can put it in my head is that whole adrenaline rush is like dropped a bit. I don't really know how to explain it, but that kind of adrenaline rush is stopped, and then I'm like, oh, I've kind of slowed down a wee bit and thought, oh, I need to actually do more things for myself now. Because when he was a baby, like I went back to work after like 6 weeks, like with both the boys actually, and
6 weeks as well.
yeah,
like, wow.
I don't know why I did that, but
a lot of like self-employed people do though. They go back so early, but you need to as well.
It's just the guilt. It's the guilt of not making money for your business. It's the guilt of taking time off, but then you've got like the mum guilt as well of not being there. So I feel like you just feel guilty about every day.
So back after kind of 6 weeks.
Yeah. I started doing weddings after kind of 6 weeks, and then I went back into the salon after a couple of months. Yeah. So it was good. But I feel like my brain was like mush.
So what did you kind of start doing to kind of get that moment to be like, right, I need to find things for myself. I need to find Nic again. I need to find the Nic that's not just the business owner and the mum. What kind of tools did you use just to kind of start discovering what was for you?
I probably this is when it was probably during lockdown. I started doing like home workouts and stuff like that, and then that kind of progressed, and that was like my area where I would not let my brain think about anything. If even like the kids popped into my head or work popped into my head, I was like, no. That's it, no, get out of my brain. This is like my hour of the day where it can just be like me and I don't need to think about anything else. I don't need to think about like the back chaos of all. So yeah, probably the gym definitely helped a lot with that.
Yeah. And was that more, did you feel fitter or was it more body related, but did you just start to feel a wee bit more yourself from exercising and feeling the benefits of that as well?
Probably a bit of everything, to be honest. I feel like it really helps with the overwhelm of life when I go to the gym. And even if you have a couple of weeks off, I can feel the overwhelm start to trickle back in, and then that's when I'm like, no, I need to go back to the gym. I need to do something for myself, because then I feel like my brain just gets really overwhelmed with it all.
Yeah. One of our members last night was saying she was on the ski erg and she was trying to like beat her time on the ski erg, and I was like, oh my god, like the de-stressing of that and you can't think about anything else because you're just go. It does properly make you switch off from absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And I said to her as well, I was like, I can't imagine you getting angry the rest of the day because you just gave everything to this ski erg. And that's why I love, like, not everybody can do it, but I love a morning workout because I feel like I've just served myself. It's like nothing in the day can go wrong. Obviously it can, but I feel like I'm in a better place to kind of manage it. And I think mentally as well, you get that endorphins hit and you feel good, and then your body feels good as a byproduct as well. And I think that makes you feel a wee bit more confident in yourself as a person and as a woman when you do feel better within your body.
I know it's only that 5 minutes to try to get out of bed, but once you're there for like an early morning one, it's really good. Oh,
it's the best thing ever. And then when you get home, you can chill out on the sofa and do nothing guilt free. It's amazing. So we started with exercise. Did you feel that was your first step into finding you again?
Yeah, 100%. And then I feel like it kind of trickles onto everything else in your life, doesn't it? Like, I feel like I could dress how I wanted and just feel overall better and more confident. I feel like the confidence thing definitely came back after getting into exercise and like try to feel my best. And I definitely think like the weeks that you're really on it, like everything else feels on it as well, like just like work and then eating well and everything else kind of falls into place with it.
Yeah, I love that you said that because it's a huge thing for me within Lead Hard. It's like, I don't want to just be like, oh, let's build confidence, because a lot of it does come from looking after your body first and your health first, that then you get the clothes are on and you're like, your skin's better for your makeup, which you'll know from what you do, like eating well, training is really good for your skin.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. You definitely have that glow about you, I think. When you work out more.
Yep. And then did you set some goals like from the gym, and then did you set any other goals in other aspects of life to just start?
Probably not. I've probably set loads of different goals. As I've said before, I feel like I'm really good at loads of different ideas all the time, but it's actually just implementing them. But I definitely think that it helps you achieve your goals better, because you've got the more confidence, and it kind of takes that doubt away in your brain, because I think the doubt in the back of your brain is the worst thing.
Yeah. And I think for me, like, see, when I was feeling similar to you last year, like, I love pen and paper, and I would literally sit, and I know you did this as well, but I would just have like huge mind maps. Like, I love a mind map. And having like, okay, this is what I'm doing in the gym, this is what I'm doing at home, this is what I'm doing with work. And then like, did you do anything like that to just like all this noise in your head of all this stuff that you wanted to do? Did you find doing anything like that helped?
Definitely. I do quite a lot of mind maps. I feel like just getting it out of your brain and onto a bit of paper, and then I like to put it on almost like, it's like kind of like the back of my fridge where I need to walk to get like to underneath the cupboard, and then you can just kind of glance at it every now and then, because I feel like you have so many thoughts that run through your head all day every day, but actually putting them down on a bit of paper and then keep going back to them every couple of weeks or every month, or even keeping it up there for a year and seeing how far you've got after that year, is so much better than it just going round in a hamster wheel over and over again in your brain.
Absolutely. And anything else that's helped you kind of discover a little bit more about you and like clearing your head?
I think definitely like doing things that are outside work, and even at like outside the gym and stuff like that, getting more creative. I definitely I had to have a think about what I used, like who I used to be before I started Honey and Violet, and I used to love doing like makeup videos and like bits and bobs on Instagram, like way back when Instagram was like just pictures, but
those were the good days.
So I started doing like kind of makeup videos and stuff again, and then I started like me and my mum are really both quite arty, so I started going to, there's these like kind of classes called, it's like what's it called again? Oh, boozy brushes, that's it.
Oh, I've not heard of that.
So it's actually really good. It's like painting classes. It's just like, I feel like wee things like that outside of just the normal is so much better for you, because you feel great as you do these kind of things.
Yeah, totally. So we would say to people that are possibly feeling like you did, start exercising, looking after yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Like maybe writing down a lot of this noise that's in your head when you're feeling lost and you're not sure what you want to do, writing that all down. And then last things like bring back a wee bit of your childhood back, or like bring back a little bit of fun things to do, and plan it in, because it's so easy not to do these things and just be on that hamster wheel and not stopping. Whereas like just like for me to message Nick and be like, let's go for a dog walk, like let's go and do something, like you're just meeting new people and doing things. So I do think we do get into our 30s and then we just like we stop having fun.
Yeah.
Because like you can't really go out and party like we used to, because the hangovers would be horrendous. So like you are seeing less people, you are having less fun, you are just sat on the sofa watching Netflix, and it does, like, you are going to hit a bit of a slump and you are going to feel down. Like that's not fun. That it's not normal to feel like that. And I think it can be really easy to be like, I'm just going to stay here because it's safe and it's comfortable, but it's not happy. And you're like, oh well, I've got my job and I've got my kids, everything's good in life. Like you almost feel guilty to want to do more stuff or to want more stuff, and you shouldn't, because like we're only 30, like your life can still change so much. You can become an Olympic weightlifter, like you can go back and do fun stuff, and also getting your mum involved in that. She must have loved doing stuff like that as well, because it is. And if I think of my mum, like she did stop for a few years and stop doing fun stuff, and now she's like in her 60s and she's like going on cruises and learning Spanish, and she's doing so much. And she always says, if you've listened to her podcast as well, she's like, I always wish I did more. When she was younger, she's like, in my 30s I felt old, and she's like, you're in your 30s now and I can't believe how much life you've got left. And it's like, don't just stay comfortable.
And I think a lot of times people like hold back and say, when I retire I'm going to do all this stuff, or when I get to like 50 I'm going to do all this stuff. Well, just do this stuff now. Like you might not make it to 50, or you might, like, do you know what I mean, you might, something might come up before then. So because I feel like there's a big thing of, but I'll have time when I'm retired, but you'll be a totally different person when you're retired, so why not do those kind of fun things now?
Oh, totally. And then when you're retired, you're old and older, not old, but you are older and you are weaker, whereas right now we're young, we've got the body to do stuff, and we are so much more capable than we realise. Like a lot of our members will say to us, like, I'll be like, oh, let's go and do a park run. And they're like, I can't do a park run. And I'm like, you absolutely can. Like, you'll go and do a park run and there'll be people in there that are 20, 30 years older than them doing it. Like, we are so much more capable than we realise, and it's actually not stopping right now and actually starting to do stuff, because it is.
I know, and I feel like even getting into your 30s, people are like, oh, I'm so old now. That is wild to say that you're old even when you get into your 40s, like, you're not old. Like, it really, really bothers me when people say, I'm too old to do that now. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Absolutely not.
Completely not. That's just the wrong way of thinking about it. Like, I always think to myself, so obviously I had Rory when I was quite young. I was like 22 when I had Rory. So the year he will turn 18, I will turn 40, and I'm like, I could still go to Ibiza when I'm 40. I'm like, that's easily done. I could still do all these fun things when you're 40. It's just a different way of looking at life.
And a big thing for me is, like, I want to be able to go on holiday, jump in the water. I want to go climbing rows. I want to do stuff like for years to come. I don't want to be the person that's sat at the side like,
missed out on all these opportunities.
I can't do that. I'm not fit enough. I'm not strong enough to do that. It's like, oh my God, we're so young, and you can still get so fit and healthy and strong from just getting started and building it from there.
You could do that in your 30s, 40s, 50s or 60s, to be honest.
100%. So it's just so nice and refreshing to know that you've gone through that wee bit of a slump and lost yourself as well, because I do think a lot of women, when they do have children as well, you do lose yourself a little bit. And sometimes when you're just doing the same thing day in, day out, because like your business is almost 10, Ming's is almost 8 years old, you're doing the same thing all the time. It is normal to just lose yourself a little bit and maybe lose a wee bit of passion in it, or do second guess yourself to be like, right, okay, actually, how can I make it fun again? Or how can I find other things that interest me as well? Well, this is all good. Maybe there is time for me to do other stuff in life that you enjoy as well.
Oh, definitely.
So it's really cool. So that's a big thing that I wanted to go over today as well, is like in your industry, obviously beauty and hair, there's a lot of businesses that do kind of come and go, or not even just in beauty and hair, just in general, there is a lot of businesses that don't last much longer than kind of 2 years. So I was like, I love your social media and I love your brand and Honey and Violet. It's just, it just really appeals to me, and I just think you've done an amazing job with it. But what do you feel has helped, especially if you're having 2 kids as well, and that you're like, I don't feel like we're old at all, but you've got a 9-year-old business, like how? I'm sat here thinking we're in our 20s, like, but it's like, how have you guys managed to keep things going and keep things in an awesome place, even with, like, has Lisa got kids as well?
Yeah, she's got a 10-year-old as well,
Like, how have you guys done it all?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I feel like when we first started Honey and Violet, we really wanted to build a brand more than just a salon, because I feel like there is quite a lot of salons but they don't actually have a brand behind it. Whereas I feel like with Honey and Violet we could pivot almost in different areas, because there is a brand there. Like we did the candles one year, and we've got like the brow oils and stuff like that, so you can use that brand in different aspects as well, instead of it just being the salon. Whereas I feel like, and people know it, and it's like as soon as you see, like, I think the purple and the gold, people know it's Honey and Violet, if you know what I mean. Whereas I feel like sometimes a lot of businesses get lost in the beauty industry because they don't have a really strong brand behind them.
How did you know that though, to begin?
We always
said, or did you just wing it?
Like my whole life. I think we really wanted something that was like, that stood out, was like really memorable, just a really strong brand. And I think we didn't want it to be like a kind of mundane salon name. It was something that was going to like be sustainable for the next 10 years or whatever. And I think that was really important from the word go. Get like the logo right, and we've changed the logo quite a few times now, but get like the logo right and get like the colours right. And we've changed the colours, like tweaked the colours over the years just to kind of like modernise them a wee bit. But I think you need to be really adaptable with that as well, and push the brand to where it can go and like modernise it every few years, because you can get stuck in a wee bit of a rut that you don't want to change anything with it.
Yeah. And you were in a smaller building, and you also then moved to a bigger building as well?
Yeah, so we had a salon in Dunblane High Street, just across from the bank. It was just me and Lisa that was in there, and there was only a few kind of hair sections. And then we decided that we wanted to kind of expand and get different hairdressers and different makeup artists. So the space in Maxwell Place came up, and we thought, we're just going to go for it. Why not?
Yeah, and you're still there today.
Yeah, still there today. Me and Lisa actually aren't in the salon that much anymore because we do so many weddings. But we've got a great team in there that kind of run the show for us when we're not there. So it's really good and it works really well. Yeah,
I think you've done an incredible job as well. Like, just like the branding, like you said, like it's very elegant, and I feel like it kind of appeal to like a younger generation, but also like older generation as well. Like there's something so appealing about it that it's not just someone's name or like white. It's like there is definitely a bit of elegancy there to it, which is really nice.
We have like 16-year-olds come in, and then we have like 70, 80-year-olds come in, so it's trying to actually get something that suits everyone and something that people feel comfortable in as well. And we're really heavy on the service. Like, if you want to have a good brand and a good space, then you really need to have like a good service, and it's just all the wee added extras that I think makes it stand out as well.
Yep. What about how the business runs as well? Like, obviously you had different bosses and stuff when you were maybe younger, and you and Lisa had experienced how other people did it. Do you feel you maybe learned how other people did it that helped you both go, we don't want to do that? like, we want to do this.
Yeah, and I think especially the hairdressing industry, I've never worked in the hairdressing industry before, but just heard off a lot of the girls like through the years that, you know, it can be quite vile at times, to be truthfully honest, and like really hard. And I was just like, I don't want the girls to feel like that, because I think it takes a lot to employ staff. It takes a lot to keep staff there for the long run. But I think if you treat people right and you're really compassionate to people, like everyone's got their own things going on and stuff like that as well. Like you really need to be adaptable for people's needs as well, because people would just come and go and that's the end of it. And it's actually really hard. It's more expensive as a business to keep re-employing people over and over again and interviewing people than to just actually take care of the staff that you've got.
Yeah.
And I think that we're quite good at that, like keeping the staff that we've got and treating them right. And like some of the girls were there for like 5-6 years, so yeah, it's worked really well.
Yeah, brilliant. And another thing I know that you have done as well, which is something a lot of businesses struggle with, is social media.
Yeah.
Like, how did you feel when you first started doing social media? Did you enjoy it at first?
I always think it's like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
Like I love doing it, but I do all the social media for both the channels and then my own social media as well. So I feel like it's almost like a side hustle sometimes, because I end up doing it at 8 or 9, 10 o'clock at night. But it's so important for the business, and that's where a lot of people find us, is through social media. And it kind of just makes the brand stand out more, especially weddings. I think a lot of people find us through social media, because they want to know if like what kind of style of makeup we do, what kind of style hair we do. So people do their research before they even send you an email. Like, so I think it's definitely helped our business grow for the years.
Yeah, I think you've been very open to learning how to do things like that, whereas a lot of people can be like, oh, I don't need that, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then like if you don't change and you don't grow, your business will die.
Yeah, 100%.
And like you said, you've changed colours, you've changed shop, like you've constantly adapting rather than being stubborn and staying in your ways. You've kind of push yourself out your comfort zone to keep learning different ways to keep the business in a positive place, I would say.
Just keep pushing
really
forward with it,
even when you don't enjoy it. And also like social media is like a full-time job itself, which is like you're in the salon less, but you're now maybe doing a little bit less beauty but doing more admin, less fun. And then you're also starting to get that creative feeling that you were missing over the years through doing your makeup videos and your hair videos, which are great. And everybody loves watching a makeup reel or a hair video or a hair transformation. People love stuff like that. So, and it's not easy to do. It's not. So it's really cool to see that you've just kept growing and trying to learn and trying to adapt.
Yeah.
And
there's
grow.
Always new ways of doing things, but you just need to kind of have an open mind with it all.
Yeah.
And just like tweaking parts of the business, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did you and Lisa manage the business with having your kids? Did that ever get a struggle, or did you both just...
I think you kind of... we're both very like... The kids kind of almost like... It's hard with the weddings because obviously that's someone's wedding day. I would never like cancel a wedding or anything like that. But if there's sometimes I've had to like... If there's something happened that I've maybe had to like leave the salon for whatever, then it's very much like the kids kind of need to come first, because what's the point of doing this and what's the point of working for yourself if you can't have these things that you do and not feel bad for it? As much as you feel bad sometimes letting down the clients, but sometimes your family and your kids like need to come first, and sometimes there is things that happen out with your control that you need to like drop a few balls to run and go and get, but it's just the kind of nature of it all, isn't it? Yeah,
and I think some people feel really guilty, like you said, for doing that, but nothing bad happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes we say that to our members, like you've built your career is like, for a lot of us, our career is so much to us that we don't want to drop the ball with that. But sometimes when you do drop the ball, you realise like nothing bad happened.
Yeah,
everybody's fine. Like it's okay. It's like, why do we put ourselves under so much pressure to like cancel someone? You feel so bad, but it's fine. It's just weird how, I don't know why as women we think that way.
I know, I don't know why either. I always feel like you're guilty whatever you do, especially as a mum. You're guilty if you work too much, you're guilty if you don't work enough, you you just have that guilt for a number of different reasons, and you just need to kind of manage that guilt and do what's best for you and your family.
Yeah, and did you have kids first or Lisa?
They were both born in like the kind of same year. Rory's older, sorry. He's like 6 or 8 months older.
Okay, so did you because I was thinking like it must be really strange if one of you has a kid and one of you doesn't, that it's like, oh God, like why? Like you don't get it, but it seems like you both just kind of grew together, which is really nice, and learned as you went along, which is really cool. So like I know for you, you're really busy with the boys, their school, their classes, then you've got your partner, his job, what he's up to, then you've got Honey and Violet, then you've got your own training and everything that you're doing. So like, what's a tool that you maybe use to just help you manage all these different plates that you're spinning?
And I need to diarise absolutely everything.
Diarise, is that a word? That sounds like diarrhea or something there, doesn't it?
I need to put in a diary everything that's going on in my life, even the school pickup, the school drop off, and then I use a calendar called Time Tree. So everything that's in it that's Shruin is blue, everything that's Rory is green, like the gym's yellow, like important appointments are red, like a holiday's like black or whatever. And even just like being able to open up my phone and just seeing that all in colour code actually really helps my brain as well. That's definitely a tool. And then my husband Gav, he like plays a lot of golf and like teaches the rugby team. So I feel like a lot of time we need to usually sit down on a Sunday, not that we sit down, but it's not as formal as that, but usually we're like, so what's actually happening this week? Because if it's not, then the week just gets on top of you. So he's like, you've got the gym on Monday, I've got the golf on Tuesday, I've got X on Wednesday, and then that's kind of how we try and work it out.
Yeah, so he's kind of a bit of a team.
Yeah. I tried to be. It doesn't always work out like that, but yeah.
And everybody has access to that calendar as well.
Yeah, well, it's usually just me, to be fair. Gav's a bit of a technophobe, but I'm trying to get him on the calendar.
And anything else that you feel just kind of helps you stay on top of it all? I don't know if you want to discuss as well, you've recently started getting like another coach, a therapist a little bit to chat about stuff. Yeah,
so I decided, I think I actually spoke to you about it, and then a couple of my friends, not that anything was like terrible in my life, but I just felt like I needed someone to like openly talk to about things that were going on that weren't like friends or family or anything like that. So I started going to a therapist a few weeks ago, and I honestly would recommend it to absolutely anyone. Like I just feel like it really opened my brain of like why I do things. That was the biggest thing for me, is like why do I do certain things, and there's always a reason behind it as well. Like I'm quite bad at confrontation, so then why do I, and it's only really with certain people I don't like confrontation. Why does my brain just shut off? Like what's the reason behind that? Because I walk away and I go, why did I not say that? Why did I not say something back?
I thought that was a normal thing.
And like just stuff like that. I feel like I wanted to know why I did things in my life and like what was the reason behind it. And there's always a reason behind it, I think. And I think it really helped me open my brain. And I feel like I've said it to you before, but I feel like there was a mental block in my brain that I really needed to move past, because it was like stopping me being creative and stopping me doing certain things, and I couldn't really work out what the block was. Even doing everything to try and push past the block, I feel like I just needed to really talk to someone and try and like kind of open my brain back up.
Yeah, and it's so funny when you say it, it's like, oh, we're allowed to say therapist. Like, you feel so weird saying it as if something's wrong, but nothing needs to be wrong. It can just be, like we said earlier, just clear your head a little bit. But that's maybe helped you as ways in a kind of family as well, because Gav will only understand certain things. There's only so many things that I can speak to Joe about until he's switched off and bored and fed up with me. So it is really nice to like, and sometimes like your partner, they just want to give you actions and they just want to help you. They just want to fix it. But when, like I've spoke about Jen on this podcast, like the lady I had as well, But that just gives you thinking time, and it just gives you you can just speak without someone being like, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to talk and express how I'm feeling and find answers that are locked within. So I think that helps you as a family as well, for you to be less emotional and like maybe get angry or frustrated at Gav or the kids. It's like having that can be a really good tool just to help you manage all these other plates. And again, exercise almost feels like an extra plate, and maybe doing therapy feels like an extra plate to spin, but these are things that help us keep all the plates balancing, really, aren't they?
And I will say, I feel like Americans are very good at like talking about, you know, like, oh, I'm just going to go and see my therapist and I'll meet you for a coffee after. But even speaking about it to a couple of like friends and family, I noticed their reaction when I said like, oh, I'm going to go and get a therapist, or I'm going to go and speak to someone. They were like almost like, oh, like backing off a wee bit. But I'm like, no, it's not like, or like saying, oh, I didn't realise it was that bad. And I'm like, no, it's not like that bad, but it just needs to stop this whole like stigma about it all, about going to speak to someone that's not your close friends or family.
Yeah.
And I think the more and more people, I think it'll probably change over the years, in the next few years, but I definitely think that people need to speak about it more.
Yeah.
And talk about that they're just wanting to chat to someone and want to unravel their brain a wee bit.
Yeah, and getting help is not a bad thing either.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, I think we try as women to do it all ourselves.
Yeah.
And to just get on with it, like we said at the start, and on that hamster wheel and just keep going. But like, yeah, sometimes just having that outside source just to speak to can help massively in so many ways. Amazing. So for you, like we've got one more question, which is just our lead her question. So for you, like growing up, was there any like inspiring women that you looked up to that helped you become this honey and violet badass? Like, was there anyone that really inspired you growing up?
I feel like there was probably quite a few. I always loved, like I always followed them kind of growing up over the last like 10 years or whatever. It was like Michelle Obama. I loved like how she, like you could still she had a personality, even though she had this like high flying job, but you could still see her personality behind it, and she just seemed to manage it all and was still kind of raising these like amazing girls and stuff like that.
Sorry. Through this podcast, you probably hear someone pawing the door. Lola's outside the room and she keeps pawing the door. It's so distracting. She's like, it's getting stronger and stronger as the podcast goes. I feel she's going to break the door down in a second. Yeah. Sorry. So Michelle Obama, was that someone more recently, do you feel? Because like for me, I always remember Barack Obama, but I don't really remember Michelle as much until like her book came out, but that was me. Yeah. But for you, was it before then?
Yeah, probably. I read her book and I thought it was amazing. But yeah, I just kind of like followed them, obviously when Obama was like president and stuff like that. And I don't know, I was just kind of like drawn to her. I feel like she still had a personality. She was still like really sarcastic. She would still like put Obama in his place in a funny way, like just stuff like that I felt like it was like a really like warmth to her as well that you didn't really see with a lot of like that kind of level of celebrities. So yeah.
I mean, anyone else?
Try to think. No, my brain's in blank.
Anyone growing up, a teacher or a celebrity growing up that made you go, I want to get into beauty, for example? Is there anything like that? Or no? You'll get a brain block now, probably.
I know. So I always followed like Jamie Genevieve's
journey. Yeah.
Through, because I used to actually work alongside her sometimes in the old Debenhams, and then she just, I don't know, like it just was amazing what she did, and now she's got like an amazing brand. So yeah, she's just done so well for herself, and I feel like it's really good for like a young girl, especially a Scottish girl as well, to like really stand out, because I think it's quite hard for that. But no, she's done amazing.
It's amazing that from the outside, again, like what me and you experience, we look at all her stuff, but we know she'll have her struggles, absolutely, definitely. But she just seems to just cruise, and she's just absolutely killing it, isn't she?
Definitely.
So yeah, and it's probably really interesting for you because you've known her from like very early days, like just starting out, maybe even just starting YouTube back then, possibly.
Yeah, I used to watch our YouTube channels all the time.
Yeah, and you'd be like, oh, what's YouTube? That's so weird. And then now it's like this huge thing, so that's really cool, amazing.
And it's quite funny because I always thought to myself, like, I always wanted to get into YouTube and stuff like that, but I kind of went down a different path, and like I had kids and stuff like that, and it's now funny that it's almost like flipped reverse, because she's probably got kids now, she's got a wee girl now, but then I don't ever think there's a time in your life to like, when's the right time to have kids, because I always felt like I was really young having kids and I couldn't really do much now, but then I'm starting to get the time back now as well, whereas she might feel the complete opposite. So yeah, it's quite funny.
Yeah, because I feel like that when I speak to you, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you've got like 2 kids, and I'm like, I feel so behind. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go through all that.
I was only like 21, and I was like seeing everyone going on like party holidays and doing X, Y, and Z. I was like, oh, I can't do that. So I feel like there's never ever a right time in life to have kids, because you're always going to feel like you're missing out on something regardless what age you are. So yeah, it's quite funny, because then I seen like my brother and my sister and stuff go travelling and all that, and I had like younger kids, but now I feel like they're in the kind of small baby kid stage, whereas I'm like coming out of it.
Yeah.
And then I've got a wee bit more free time now, so it does like a whole flip reverse, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's exciting. It's really cool to see you in the gym, still doing lots of really cool stuff with Honey and Violet as well. And yeah, just the kids are growing up and you're getting all this time back now. I'm excited to see what you end up doing with this free time. So where is best for everyone to kind of find you?
So either on Honey and Violet page, or Honey and Violet Weddings, or Nic Denham on Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah, perfect. Amazing. Thank you for being on.
No, thanks for
Enjoyed
having
it.
me. Yeah, it's been lovely.
Thank you everyone else for listening, and you're happy if anyone's got any questions related to this, or even just inquiries for weddings and stuff, happy for everyone to message you. But we hope you've enjoyed today. Thank you so much for listening as always, and I'll speak to you all soon.